Hello everybody and welcome to my channel. I'm Mads and it is time for my December wrap up. It's been a little bit since I filmed, so it feels nice to get back into it. Last week I didn't have a video only because it was Christmas break. I was with my family. I didn't have time to film. I am back to the usual grind here, and so I need to do my December wrap up. Next week I think I'll have my 2023 kind of year wrap up to just talk about like all the books I read for the year. But right now I still need to do my December wrap up before I can move on to that. It's just I have to play some video catch up here in the next couple of weeks. So bear with me if anything is just late on the trend, ignore it. Okay, so I read 7 books in December and I honestly had a fantastic reading month, which feels great. I think I started out like really slow at the beginning of the month just because I had finals and my work schedule was getting kind of hectic and there's so many things, and I was kind of falling into a little bit of a reading slump at the beginning of the month only because I didn't know what to read or I couldn't really get into anything, but you know how it is. I am still so happy that I managed to read 7 books even with it starting out as a slow month. So the first book I read in December was I read most of it in November, but I just finished it up when December started, so it counts. But that is I Loved You in Another Life by David Arnold. I read this one on my phone and Penguin Teen had sent it to me as an advanced reader's copy. It did come out a few months ago. I was a little bit late. I wasn't really much of an advanced reader, but I still got to read it and I still had that chance, and honestly, I loved that book. So I Loved You in Another Life is this super just like romantic and poetic YA book about these 2 characters who have been with each other in like all their previous lives, and then it's just this book is just them coming together in this current life, except they don't actually really meet or talk face to face until the middle of the book. And so the first half of this book, you just have this buildup of these characters and you're trying to figure out where their lives are gonna connect, and they're both hearing this same song, and it's just, oh my gosh. And you get these little snippets of their past lives, and it's cute because their names always start with the same letters, but sometimes it's like gender bended, sometimes it's queer. It's a really cool concept. And then when they finally meet, they click so well, and there's so much within these characters that I just really loved. I did end up rating this one a 4-star. I did feel that some of the pacing was a little bit off with it, and I think sometimes it kind of drew me out of the book, or some of the explanations just felt off. Like 1 second we were in one scene and then all of a sudden we were in another scene with this minor explanation for what happened in that last scene, and I just didn't really like that. It was a personal preference, really. So this book is just gorgeous. I loved the character interactions. You have this like kind of little friend group develop, and it's not a super like found family. It's just these characters that kind of start interacting more, and by the end they're kind of just all grouped together. And you see a lot with the male main character's family. His relationship with his little brother is just one of the sweetest things ever, and our female main character is going through major grief right now. She just lost her older sister, and they used to be super close, and she's currently kind of an alcoholic and dealing with all these things. And then of course they get together and kind of put each other right back on track, and the ending is also really good too, and I just really enjoyed this book. It's not a 5-star, but I still really love it. Next up, I read Last Violent Call by Chloe Gong. I definitely read this out of order. That's my bad. I'm pretty sure you're supposed to read this after Foul Lady Fortune, because they do make some references to like things going down in Foul Lady Fortune that just went over my head, and I wouldn't have known if it wasn't just for my general kind of knowledge from minor spoilers across the internet on what goes down in that book. But I did read this one. Even if it was out of order, I still really enjoyed it. This one was a 4-star read, maybe even 3.5, only because it's 2 novellas, and so you just have these little stories, one with Roma and Juliet kind of in their life after the events of Our Violent Ends, and then you have Benedict and Marshall, who I adore, and them going on an adventure on a train trying to solve a murder. And both of them are like connected, but some parts just felt very slow, and I was definitely only in it for the relationship. So when it came to the plot aspects, it was just kind of like, okay, fine, whatever. Honestly, this might even be a 3-star. Now that I'm just kind of like thinking back on it and going through it, I really did enjoy them, and I loved getting to see more of the couples and their interactions. It just didn't hit the same as These Violent Delights or Our Violent Ends. I just loved seeing the couples again, but the plot wasn't really there for, so it kind of just lowered these two novellas down a little bit for me. Next up, I read Icebreaker by Hannah Grace. I bought this on a whim. I read it kind of on a whim because I thought, hey, ice hockey fits the December vibes, season, whatever. I ended up liking this book a lot more than I thought I would, and it surprises me immensely because I just, I thought it would be not good. Maybe it's just like a me thing. I don't know. I just heard that it was like all smut, no plot. And so going into it, I was kind of like, I'm probably not gonna like this if that's the case. But honestly, I kind of loved the characters, and it took me by such a surprise. This book is about our two main characters. It's a dual POV, so it's like really fun. But this one is about Anastasia and Nathan, and she is a figure skater and he's a hockey player, and they're both at a college in California, but one of their skating rinks get kind of shut down and they kind of have to share a rink, and so they start interacting a lot more. And in the beginning, she just kind of hates him. She just gives him so much crap. She's just so mean to him, and he's just like, hey, I want to be your friend. And then obviously things sort of develop. I rated this one a 3.5 because there were some parts and some lines that kind of were just kind of cringy, kind of drew me out. I didn't love, felt very kind of like Wattpad. But then there were just so many other parts where I was just, they were so cute, okay? I was not expecting them to be cute, but by the end, I was so invested, not only in their relationship, but in all the other characters. I loved the other characters. It's such a cute little college found family in this book. Like, she just kind of joins the hockey guys along with her best friend, and it's such a cute dynamic seeing her with the other hockey guys. And honestly, at first, I kind of hated the relationship. I thought, this is kind of annoying. But then you go on, their banter is just really cute. You can tell that they really do care for each other, even though they're trying not to, because let's be real, they both have their problems. But I just think that they worked so well. But there were also some other things, like it felt like some of the smut scenes were a little too forced, in my opinion. Like, they really didn't need to be there. At some point, I just kind of started skimming them, I'm not gonna lie. And then the epilogue, I did not love the epilogue. There's a lot of reasons I didn't love the epilogue, and I don't want to spoil anything, so if you want to talk to me about it, please feel free to hit me up. But I personally didn't love the epilogue, and I think that kind of brought it down a little bit. But I genuinely really enjoyed this book, and I was not expecting to. I'm not ashamed to admit it, but I like this book, and I don't care if some of the lines are cringy or cliche. I want to buy more of her books. Like, I want to buy the rest of the books in the series because I just need more of them, and I need more of these characters, and I want them in my life. So I need the others. That was definitely my biggest surprise of the month, was actually enjoying Icebreaker, wanting to continue reading it, and just enjoying the scenes that I got, and they were just so cute, okay? Don't judge me. This next book is one that kind of took me a while to read. Not because I didn't enjoy it, just because life got crazy and I didn't really have a lot of time to. But when I did read this book, I absolutely adored it. That is Masters of Death by Olivia Blake. This is actually my first Olivia Blake book I've ever read, and the latest Olivia Blake book to my collection. Okay, first of all, the end pages are just immaculate, amazing. I can't get over it. And that's genuinely why I bought the book. But I ended up rating this book a 5-star. So there's a lot that happens in this book, and so it's kind of hard to do a synopsis that doesn't spoil anything. But basically, you have the godson of death who is pretending to be a medium and basically choosing his godfather, Death, to make money and kind of trick people. He's not a great person, but he is a cinnamon roll and I love him. And then we have a vampire who is, I think, a fairly new vampire. She's new to this whole creature thing, but she became a real estate agent and she's trying to sell this house, but there's a ghost inside of it. So she seeks out the help of a medium to kind of help her get rid of the ghost. And things just go so crazy because instead of helping her get rid of the ghost, they get dragged into this crisis that's happening in the immortal world. And a lot of them have to play this game that the immortals play. And it's just absolutely insane. And I think a lot of it hinges on the game that they play, but basically nothing of the game makes sense. And yeah, I still love it. We also have some other characters. We have a angel who is not very angel-like, and we have the sweetest reaper, and we have a demon who is just very entertaining. Like, I love her. And they just kind of get thrown together, and I love them with my whole heart. And I love their interactions, and I just really loved this book, okay? Honestly, at some point, it didn't matter that I had no idea what was happening in this book because I just loved the characters so much. And then we have, I forgot to mention a character, we have a half-blood in this, a godling, and he is something else. But his part in the book is just like so heart-wrenching and it just hits you so hard. And as you go on, things just get pieced together. Like, you have all these questions and they all get answered, even if it is a confusing answer. This book is just amazing and I love it. And I just really loved all the characters. I mean, what more do you want from me? It's a kind of urban fantasy with a found family, and it's queer. And the romance, like the sprinkles of romance you get in this book are just, the character development in this book, the mysteries revealed along the way, so much unravels in this one book, and I just absolutely was here for it all. So I definitely recommend you go read this book right now. I want to talk to more people about it because it's amazing and I love it. And weirdly enough, there is a book that I enjoyed more than that one. And I binged this in 2 days, but most of it was in one day. I took it with me on vacation and I started it. First day I read it, I got to page like 30, 40. I was enjoying it. It was cute. Next day we were leaving our vacation. There was a lot of travel and I thought, oh, I can get some reading done. I could not put this book down for the life of me. I spent a 3.5-hour plane ride completely binging this book. I did not put it down. I did not sleep. I ate, but I didn't do anything else. I just read. And it's The 7-Year Slip by Ashley Poston. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I did not expect myself to love this book this much. I did have high hopes. I knew I was going to enjoy it just from the things I heard about it. The premise, the things that people said about it. I heard it was just a sunshine of a book, and so I just needed to read it. And I knew I was probably going to enjoy it, but oh my gosh, I enjoyed this book so much more than I thought I would. This book is an adult contemporary, but there is kind of a little bit of magical realism, a magical twist into it. Our main character, Clementine, inherits her aunt's apartment after her aunt passes, and her aunt always said this apartment was really magical and has the ability to send you 7 years into the past. And Clementine does not believe this. So she goes to the apartment because she kind of has to. And then one day she gets home from work and all of a sudden she's 7 years in the past and kind of lives like her best little weekend with a guy that's in the apartment. And then everything just kind of unravels, and I don't want to spoil anything because I loved just learning about everything as I went that I didn't know was in this book. So I'm not going to give you too much. But I love this book. I love this book so much. Clementine and Iwin are just the light of my lives and I love them. I loved everything that they kind of provided for each other because I think they gave each other so much and it just made me so happy. Like, their relationship had a purpose for each other, you know? And what's better than that? Because it makes sense. You know this relationship is going to last, and if it doesn't, it is going to have such a deep impact on these characters, and I just cannot get over this book. Iwin is, like, such an amazing man, and I love him, and I'm kind of in love with him, and oh my gosh, like, huh? He was just perfect, okay? I'm never gonna get over him, I think, ever. Just the way he treated Clementine. First of all, he called her Lemon just because he wanted to. It's just so cute, okay? Especially because he has this like lemon pie recipe from his grandfather that he makes all the time. And he calls her Lemon because of her name Clementine, like lemon's kind of thrown in the middle. But that it just like ends up meaning so much more. And I just love it so much. And there's definitely some themes of like kind of still finding yourself even when you're in your 30s, kind of still going on this self-discovery journey. And honestly, I love it so much. And I definitely think that I Win helps her a lot in that adventure. And I love this book so much. And it definitely was my favorite of the month. So y'all need to go read it like right now because this book deserves so much love. In fact, I don't think I've seen a bad rating about it. I'll have to do like another reading 1-star ratings of my 5-star books sometime in the future when I gather more 5 stars. But I don't know how many there would be because I haven't seen anything bad about this book, okay? It's just universally loved at this point. There's nothing to hate here, okay? It's just perfection. And I adore it. And the next 2 books, I didn't really rate them because they are rereads and they hold such a special place in my heart. I felt like rating them wouldn't really be fair just because, like, I don't want to analyze it. I'm just in it for the ride, okay? My next 2 books that I read were The Lightning Thief and The Sea Monsters. I read this in, like, 2 days. I read this one in, like, 3 days. Just because they're so quick to get through. They're middle grade urban fantasies, and also I've read them before, so that also plays a big role into it. I zoom through these books now. I love getting back into this world, and I started the TV show, and it's amazing, and these books just bring me so much joy, and so diving back into this series is just like, I love it. I love it so, so much. This is gonna be a fun time continuing to reread the series because I am gonna continue the series. If you don't know, Percy Jackson is about this boy, Percy Jackson, who finds out that he is a demigod and that all the stories about Greek gods are real, and he kind of gets thrown into this prophecy and this quest that he kind of has to figure out. And it's absolutely insane. It's amazing, and I definitely recommend it. I think anybody from any age can read it. Like, it really doesn't matter how old you are. I mean, I guess you can be kind of too young for it because you may not be able to understand what's happening, but you can never be too old for the series. That's what I say. If you haven't read it and you think you missed out, go read it. Like, I won't judge you. In fact, I will cheer you on if you decide to read these books for the first time because they're just amazing, okay? And there's so much to enjoy here, and this series is one that gets such little hate, and that is for a reason. It's amazing, and I love them. So I am gonna continue reading that series in January. December was honestly such a great and fantastic reading month. I had 2 5 stars this month after like 2.5 months of no 5 stars. It took me so long to get to this point, and now I have 2 new 5 stars back to back. That hasn't happened to me in so long. I'm so pleased with December. For my January TBR, it's kind of still up in the air. So I am gonna continue reading the Percy Jackson series. Again, I fly through it, so I'm gonna be done with the Percy Jackson series super quick, but then I'm gonna reread the Heroes of Olympus. I'm not sure if I'm gonna be able to get through all of those in January. Hopefully I can, really not sure. But then I want to read the Chalice of the Gods, and then I need to read the Trials of Apollo series, and then I need to read the Sun and Star. I have a lot to catch up on. I am aware of that. I doubt all of that will be in January, but that is my reading plans from now on, and so that's kind of gonna be what I'm following. I hope this doesn't mean that my wrap-ups get super boring because I'm just rereading this like series that I read when I was younger and have just continuously reread over the years. Like, I've read this series so many times, but it's worth it every time. I will also be throwing in some other books in there too because I am so backed up on my e-arcs, and that's just like my advanced reader copies that Penguin Teen has sent to me on NetGalley. I'm so behind. I'm so very behind. So I need to spend some time in catching up on that. And so I'll be kind of balancing or trying to balance some ebooks as well as Percy Jackson. So we'll see how this goes, especially with my new semester. I'll have a new class schedule and a new work schedule. So I will need to find just different times to read and film and just figure out what that looks like for this next semester. I had a great reading month, and I hope everybody else had a great reading month. Please let me know what you read in December and what was your favorite read, or if you have read any of these and you want to talk about them. I am always here to talk about books. Thank you everybody for watching. As always, please like, comment, and subscribe below, and I'll see you next week. Bye!